But I think that's also something else to take into account. So going back to, as Christians, how do we live healthy lives? To have a spirituality, but I also think, spiritual health, physical health, financial health, emotional health. Like you can be a very, what I love about our faith is that holy people can be very different. I think it's dangerous when people think that to be holy,
you have to look like Padre Pio.
You have to have a certain personality.
Yes.
Like even when you look, like I love in scripture or among the fathers or the saints. I mean, Saint Jerome and Saint Therese of Lisieux are both saints, but they do not have the same temperament.
No.
Saint Peter and Saint Paul are friends that could come to blows because they're both holy, but they had very different temperaments. When I read the Bible, well, Paul was the confirmation name I chose when I was baptized. Because I read his conversion story over and over again. He was someone I identified with. And then later on in life, when I discovered I have these really melancholic tendencies, I see that in St. Paul constantly when I read his letters. It's funny when you see him write, he reveals, what other people say about him. He says that they say of him or me.
That's right.
He says, he is mighty in word, but not in person. That he'll write these very here's the deal people in his epistles, but then when he's in person maybe not as forthright with people. But and I love in Galatians too when he opposes because he's telling in Galatians he is grumpy. Well, he's grumpy about people saying in order to be a good Christian you have to be a good Jew, you have to be circumcised. No, that's not required anymore. Then he's mad about people putting up these fences to the gospel, and people are telling him, well, Paul, he just wants to please the Gentiles. He's a people pleaser, and he says, no, I did not try to please. And the beginning of Galatians all about I got the gospel, I received this from God. I did go to Jerusalem to confirm everything with the apostles, but I'm not trying to please people. And he says, I even opposed Peter to his face. Because that was when Peter didn't dine with the Gentiles because he didn't want to be judged by the Jewish Christians. So Peter didn't have he didn't teach error. He just failed to live out the teaching. He was cowardly. Shocker for Peter, right? So Paul just goes right up, is like, sorry, you're wrong, and tells him and does it with that authority he has as an apostle to correct him. Because melancholics, they care about the truth. So I guess for some people, they would rather preserve harmony even if the truth gets lost, and other people will allow disharmony to make sure the truth will be there.
And my wife never lets the truth get in the way of a good story. So it'll be a month, and she'll be recounting something that's happening. I'm like, that is not what happened. I need you to know now before this goes any further.
She would have made a good rabbi. There is a joke on The Simpsons where Krusty meets his dad, Rabbi Herschel Kristofsky, and who was played by Jackie Gleason, I believe. And he says, a rabbi never exaggerates. Rabbi never exaggerates. He adds details. He may have said things that never actually happened, but he never exaggerates.
That's my wife, man.
So
but she'll actually believe things that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So for me, I ruin a good story by the truth.
That's called confabulation, having a false memory that we can create in our minds. Oh, by the way, the point about Peter, when a lot of Protestants bring this up, saying this shows that Peter was not the Pope. He's not infallible. No, he wasn't making a teaching decision. He was not acting as he should. In the Greek, it said he was not ortho. I can't remember the exact. It's not orthopodousin. That's orthopedics. Maybe it's orthopodousin. Yeah, I think it was orthopodousin. Literally, he was not walking upright, is what it says in the gospel. And so that's where we get orthopedics from. He was not.
I was looking at Neil, wondering if he was going to look that up, but thinking, how would you know how to spell that?
Yeah, so he was not walking upright in the gospel. But I actually see that as an example of Peter's authority in the early church, because Paul says, no, I'm not trying to please people. Guess what, folks? I even opposed Peter.
Yeah.
Which that'd be like if you worked at the White House and you said, I'm not a butt kisser. I even told the president he was being an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, that's a way of acknowledging you told the highest person there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So,
hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.